Hello, my name's Jim Kernicky. I'm originally from Pennsylvania. I have a background in inventory management, but for a number of years, I ran a pet service business until moving to Kentucky in late 2024. I built a website for that business, which is how I got interested in web design, web development. And after moving to Kentucky, I started job hunting, and that's when I found out about CodeU and their coding program. So I knew that getting into a coding program would strengthen my coding skills, which it definitely did, and would help me connect with other people in tech. So I thought it was a great opportunity. So my project is called Vision Grid, and it came from my interest in photography. I thought if I could attach notes to images, then it could be used as a project and goal planning tool. At a high level, users can search for images for their project using the Unsplash API, save the images that match their goal, and attach notes to each image. That feature makes it good for practical projects like planning a deck build, basement redo, or landscaping. But a second major feature is the ability to add a goal or affirmation statement for each saved image, and then view those statements in an image slider, which I'll show at the end. And that's ideal for personal goals. So here's the tech I used, and I just wanted to cover some of the things I did. So I ran some reports and ended up having some issues. So I added a lot of accessibility attributes to various elements that I had, mostly my hidden elements. Of course, I used semantic HTML tags. I had to add a lot of SEO tags into a head element as well. And for CSS, I went to push myself and either use things that I haven't used before or use some new features. So I use CSS nesting for the first time, and I love it. I'm going to use that going forward. Use the clamp function for the first time for responsive sizing on my H1. And of course, I use mobile first media queries. For JavaScript, I use it's vanilla JavaScript, but my code started growing large, so I had to use ES modules and break the code into different folders and files. Event delegation, I had a lot of that because most of my elements are dynamic, and I relied heavily on local storage for all the user images and all and text notes. The backend is a standard setup. I have Node.js mainly for environment variables and to support Express.js. And of course, I used Express to hide my API key from front-end code and to serve up the static files. So now this is, I'll show you a demo of my project. So here's the search page. So you would want to search for whatever it is that relates to your goal. And what comes back is 12 images, which I place in image cards. And you do have save or remove buttons, which you can do that from the page here, but it really makes more sense to view the image if you click on it in a modal, so you can see the full aspect ratio. And then you can navigate between and then also opt to either save or remove from this view. And of course, if you can continue searching to retrieve 12 more images until you have all the saved images that you're looking for your project. But the important page is your project board page where your saved images, it's a 50-50 split, your image and a text field where you can add notes pertaining to whatever your goal or project is. And as soon as you click out of here, they're saved to local storage. If you click on an image, that's where you can add an affirmation statement or a goal statement, which will be used in the image slider. And you could also navigate through this page for that purpose as well. And then I do have, oh yeah, the thumbnail strip is useful for reorganizing your images. So you can have, like images together. Clicking on the thumbnail takes you to that image on the page. And you also have, if you want, you can delete any saved images in case you don't need them anymore. And that's removed from the page, the thumbnail strip, and from local storage. And then finally is the settings screen where you can personalize the title there if you want. It's a little feature. Set the timing for the image slider and then click the start slider button to start the show, and then it'll infinitely scroll through all your images and show your goal statement or your affirmation statement, and it'll end when you close the modal. And then I do have an about page which explains in more detail what I just said, and has some tips and tricks, additional tips and tricks that I have for the user. So that is the demo. Let me see if I can. Having a little trouble here advancing here. Okay. Oh, there you go. I'm sorry. Okay, so the challenge I had was well, it wasn't saving the user's text notes. I was able to use that, but when I recalled them from local storage, if there was line breaks, they weren't preserved. So everything flowed together on the same line. Long story short, I had to eventually ask ChatGPT, and it told me I had to use inner HTML to preserve those breaks, which was disappointing. I didn't want to use inner HTML, but everything's stored to local storage, so it should be fine. It would be a problem if I ended up using a database for this. And to understand the flow of my project, I ended up recreating every possible user action. And I put console logs and console trace in all my functions. And I realized that after doing everything that a user does, if I could have visualized that in the beginning, I could have wrote pseudocode. And I think my code organization would end up being a lot better. So that's definitely something I want to do in the future. But that would have saved me time. But that's my project. Thanks for taking the time to watch. Feel free to contact me if you have any questions about my project or would like to connect. Thanks again.